Hello and welcome back to Paul's Bass Academy. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a review of the boat that I bought last fall. I purchased a 2019 Triton 18TX, and I'm going to show you everything about this boat that I like, what I dislike, what I think maybe are some pros and cons, and then I'm going to tell you about some regrets and things that I wish I had known before I purchased it, and maybe some things I would have done a little bit differently. So stay tuned. Let's take an in-depth look at the Triton 18TX 2019 model, and you tell me what you think. Alright, so let's get right into it. Here's the boat, which I'm really happy with the boat overall. I want to say that right up front. I'm going to do dislikes first because I want to get those out of the way. I have several things that I'm a little bit unhappy about, but nothing that I think is a deal breaker. I would still recommend this boat overall. But because I want to be honest, I want to tell you everything that I both like and dislike about it. And then, like I said, something that I kind of regret and wish I had done differently. So let's get started. Let's get the dislikes over with first. I'm going to show you every single thing. So the first thing about this boat is actually the trailer. I just happen to have it written down in this order. I don't know what you call this, but this support bar that comes up where the boat actually ties down when you ratchet it in, I cannot keep this support bar tight to save my life. As you can see, it just has a real big, like a half-inch bolt that screws in. I have tightened this down probably a dozen times, and I cannot keep this tight to save my life. I finally put Loctite on the threads of this and screwed it down so tight I actually thought that I might break it. I put so much torque on it. It stayed really tight for a while. Now the bolt is tight. The bolt's not coming loose, but this is still a little bit loose. It won't lift up, that's the good news, but it does shift side to side a little bit. So I may eventually just have somebody put a little tack weld on here, because it would be a very easy fix, and I'm never going to use this trailer for anything other than this boat. So I may actually just have somebody drop me a little spot of weld on this to correct that issue. So that's not that big of a deal in my opinion, just a little bit of a pain. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the documentation that came with the boat. I'm going to zoom in here for a minute. I'm going to show you the live well system came with this switch that says it's for the rear of the boat, and it has empty in the middle, auto on the right, recirculation on the left. And then the console, okay, so this comes with a switch that says live well, and it has manual and auto on the top. And something that I'm disappointed with is in the documentation, I have yet to find something that exactly tells me how to use these to run the live well in this boat. It came with a nice live well as far as that goes. I'll show you the live well. It has a split thing in the middle. You can pull this out. You push that in to draw in water and pull it out to release the water. I don't remember, but you either push in or pull that out. Now, the live well on these boats may be standard. This is the first boat that I personally have ever purchased. So I was a little surprised when looking at the documentation. It does a really thorough job about explaining how different live wells work in boats, but it doesn't tell you how to use the combination of this button, or excuse me, this button and this to set up your live well. I've kind of figured that out on my own, but that was just something that I thought was interesting. Now, if you've owned boats before, you may not think anything about that, and to you that may be just completely normal. The next thing, I've had to replace the stop and brake lights that came on this trailer. I finally just completely replaced them. This bulb had already burned out 2 times in less than 6 months, and it was allowing water to get inside the housing. It was not LEDs, it was a standard car bulb, standard 12-volt car bulb. So I just completely replaced the lights with LEDs, and I'm having much better luck with these since I did that. So that's working fine to me. While I'm back here, I'll show you something that has been a real challenge. I've finally gotten kind of used to it. I am surprised at how hard it is to get this plug in this boat. Today, I just literally reached up and put it right in. That almost never works. I sometimes sit here for 2 or 3 minutes and I cannot get these threads started on this to save my life. Even the day that I bought it, it took him several minutes to finally get it lined up. I'm just really surprised sometimes how long it takes me. Today I'm just, for whatever reason, seem to be getting it right in there and tightening it down. But that is not normally the case. I normally have to sit here several minutes moving this around before I can finally get this tightened up. I don't know what that's all about. There it went. But this seems to be a bit of a pain in the butt. Again, not a showstopper, because once I finally kind of got used to exactly what I'm feeling for, I got better at putting it in. So that's a little bit of a pain, but not a showstopper, like I said. Now this next one is a little bit more concerning to me. I purchased this boat in August of 2019. It's a 2019 model. So the boat is about 11 months old. I'm surprised to see the fabric breaking down in these seats. You can see the seams here coming apart here and here. Now I have fished quite a bit, but I've only got about 50 hours on this boat. Based off what I'm seeing here, these seats are not going to last any time. These seats are going to be ripped open. This may be common. Again, this is my first boat, so I don't know how common of an issue this is. But I can see right now these seams are going to bust out of these seats. Probably in 2 years. I don't know. I'm not sure what this will look like 2 years from now, because it was doing this within 6-7 months of purchasing it. These seats were already starting to come apart. So I'm surprised that Triton would put a seat on their boats that fall apart that easily. I'm not rough with this boat by any means, so I don't know why it's already starting to come apart like that. Okay, that's going to sum up the dislikes. I wanted to get those out of the way because I really want to talk about some of the things that I like. Let me just give you a good look at the boat, because I have yet to do that. This is the 2019 Triton 18TX. I purchased it brand new. I did not buy it used. It's not a very tall boat, which I kind of like that. It is aluminum, and if you probably already know that. If you're looking at this video anyway, you probably already knew that was going to be an aluminum boat. Just kind of give you a walk around some of the different features. It looks so skinny on video. It's really strange. It's actually bigger than it looks on video. But let's talk about some of the things that I like about it. Let me get up in the boat. One of the things that I really like about this boat was the price. I shopped for fiberglass boats. I shopped for aluminum boats. Because this is my first boat, and I hadn't purchased a boat or looked at boats in a long time. I about had sticker shock when I found out how much it was going to cost to buy a brand new boat. This one was extremely competitively priced compared to Bass Trackers, Lowe's, Vexus, K-Mass, and some of these other boats that I looked at. Some of those boats were just incredibly expensive. This one to me wasn't the least expensive, but it had enough features at the price point that I got into it for that I feel like I would recommend that you go look at these Triton aluminum boats if you're out in the aluminum boat market, and especially if you're looking at Bass Trackers. Go take a look at these two and see what you think. But let me show you some different features about it that I really like. I really like the rod locker on these. It is huge. You can put a lot of gear in here. I don't have much in it, but I do have some gear. You're probably wondering, why in the world does he have an axe handle in his boat? Well, I had a run-in with a guy on the lake who I thought was actually going to jump in my boat and try to kill me, and that's not a joke. I literally thought the guy was going to try to kill me. So I never got to the lake again without some kind of weapon. I know that's probably unusual to see an axe handle. I could take a gun. I'm tempted to, but I really hope to gosh it never comes down to that. I'd much rather hit somebody with an axe handle than shoot them. But this rod locker is huge. Plenty of room in there as far as I'm concerned. I know people that get close to 20 rods in these things. I've seen other videos. Gary, or what's his name? Swindle. Can't think of his first name. The famous fisherman. Gerald Swindle, excuse me. He has one of these boats exactly like mine, and he has decked it out and done a lot of little upgrades and stuff to it. I don't have his money, so I haven't done all the upgrades that he does. I will say this. I failed to mention this a little bit in the dislikes. I'm surprised that though I keep my boat covered completely when there is a lot of rain and it still manages to somehow leak through the cover that I've got for it, rain ends up in this storage unit somehow. I'm not really sure how, because it has this nice lip all the way around it. It's a good, 3/4 of an inch tall, and then there's a hard surface underneath that. But even with all that, because of condensation and I don't know what else, this ends up with some water inside here, which really surprises me. So that's kind of a negative. But how big that is and how much storage that offers, I think is wonderful. Have these 2 big storage compartments. I keep life jackets, clothes, towels, things of that nature in here. Instead, I could have tons of fishing gear in there if I wanted to take it. Have this one. This is where I store a lot of my fishing gear, is in this one. I keep the lid of a tote in here because if I get something out of the water that's wet and muddy, I don't want it on my carpet. So I keep this lid, which you can see that's come in really handy. There's some rust right there. Instead of that being on the carpet, it's on this plastic tote that I can take out and throw away. Here's just a cast net that I keep in here, but this is huge. You can see that's a large tote lid, and if I open this, you can only see half of it, so there's a lot of storage up underneath there. So there are 2 of these for storage. You got your 2 tie downs there for your rods, recessed trolling motor foot control, a couple of places for pliers and a drink. You do have trim. You have a trim switch and access to your navionics up there at the front of the boat, so I think that's nice. Underneath the seat, plenty of storage. Here you can keep your lights. The pedestals for the seats stay in there. I keep my extinguisher in there, and then this one comes up as well, so I really like that. I really like how much room comes in these boats. I've already shown you the live well. Plenty of room in here. These live wells are huge, and I really like that. And then you got these 2 storage compartments. I keep tie downs, some towels, some rope for anchoring and stuff like that. So you've got 2 of those. So those are the things that I really like about it. So price and what you get for the price is really important to me. The speed is another really good feature about this boat. I can load this boat down with myself, somebody else, a full tank of gas, and this boat will run 45, 46 miles an hour up and down the lake consistently. We'll talk about the upgrades that I made to the boat here in a few minutes, which will include the stainless steel prop that I had installed on it. But it running 45 miles an hour consistently down the lake, very easy, is another big plus to me. Okay, so another feature that I really like about this boat is that it's light. Because it's aluminum, it's a little bit lighter than fiberglass boats. And so its towability, if that's a word, to me is really, really good. I haven't towed it very far yet. I live in Tennessee, and I've towed it as far as Gunnersville one time, and it just drove like it was nothing. There's my truck that I pull it with. Of course, that's a pretty big truck, but you don't have to have a 2500 series Chevrolet to pull this boat. A 1500 series or an F-150 would easily pull this, even probably a smaller crossover type vehicle or a smaller truck. All right, so let me get back out of the boat for a minute. So now let's talk about some of the upgrades that I made to this boat. I didn't upgrade a lot, but as you can see, I did upgrade the propeller. I put a 23 pitch Mercury Marine Tempest Plus on there, stainless steel. To me, that was very important and worth paying the extra money right up front. I think that's why I'm getting 45, 47 miles an hour with 2 people fully loaded out of this boat. So that was definitely an upgrade. You can't see it inside the motor, but I had them install vessel view inside of it. I'm going to make another video on that sometime in the future about how to install that, what that's all about. But I had vessel view so that I don't have to take it to the shop and ask them how many hours the motor has on it, and if it's ready for service, I can literally turn the key on, turn on my phone, and I can see how many hours the engine has on it very quickly, very easily, and I know if it's time for maintenance. So I upgraded the prop on the rear. This boat already came with power steering. It came with Baystar power steering, so that's really nice to have. Let's see, what else did I upgrade? I upgraded the trolling motor. This came with a Minn Kota, I cannot remember what the out-of-the-box trolling motor was. I upgraded to a 70-pound thrust, 24-volt trolling motor which got me an additional battery in the rear. So I have 2 batteries back there and a cranking battery. Like I said, 70-pound thrust, Edge, 24-volt trolling motor. So that was an upgrade that I made to it. And the only other thing that I upgraded, and I currently have it off the boat, so you're not going to be able to see it, is this thing came with, out of the factory floor there, it came with, not a factory floor, excuse me, but if I had purchased it right off the showroom floor, it was going to come with a Lowrance hook something, hook 5 unit or something like that. I upgraded to a Humminbird Helix 7, which wasn't a ton of money, but it was a substantial upgrade. But I upgraded it to a Humminbird Helix 7. Now, this is a great segue into talking about the things that I regret. There are many things that I regret about my buying of this boat. There are a few things. I do not regret buying the boat. Don't get me wrong. I don't regret buying the boat. What I regret was the things that I didn't upgrade right out of the gate. Number one, I wish to goodness that I would have gone ahead and upgraded to at least a 12-inch Humminbird Helix at the console and probably a Helix 9 or 10 at the bow. I have a single unit. I have a Humminbird Helix 7, and no more than I have fished. I cannot believe that it bothers me as bad as it does. Since I financed the boat, I didn't pay cash for it. I financed it. It would not have been that big of a deal. You have to pick a starting point and a stopping point on when you're financing one of these boats because they're so expensive. And to me, an extra $1,000 for this, an extra $1,000 for that, eventually you just have got to say, that's it, just stop. But if I could go back in time, I would tell you right now, I would have put a minimum of a Humminbird Helix 12 at the console and a Humminbird Helix 9, and I would have had those networked together. That is absolutely a definite that I would have done that. And I'm going to tell you what else. I have fished enough already out in the current, done some ledge fishing, and been out when there's a lot of current and wind out on the lakes. I wish to goodness I had gotten an Ultrex at a minimum. Could have gotten away with a Tarova, or a Garmin makes also a spot lock type trolling motor, but I also wish that I had gotten spot lock of some kind on the trolling motor. So that's about the only thing. Now, I was going to say that's the only thing that I really wish I would have upgraded, but we're talking about a significant price difference when you start talking about going up to these $2,500 trolling motors, these $2,500 fish finders, and you know, $1,200, $1,400, whatever fish finders. You're talking about $3,500, $4,500, $5,000, $6,000 differences in these boats really, really quick. But I wish I had just bought the bullet, because it would have been a lot easier to have financed that right up front than to now digging in my pocket and spending an extra $6,000, $7,000 to upgrade these things. But I can tell you right now, without a doubt, if you're going to go buy one of these, you really need to consider, if you're going to seriously bass fish, if you're going to try to ledge fish, if you're going to try to get out and do some ledge fishing, I think those are very important features to upgrade. Spot lock, a bigger unit, get the biggest unit you can afford. If you can go 15-inch Solix, if you can do a Humminbird Solix or a big Lowrance unit here at the console, do it. You will be so happy that you did. Don't do what I did. Don't buy the smaller unit and tell yourself you'll upgrade in the future, because that's a lot easier said than done when somebody says, well, yeah, give me $8,000 more and we'll swap all this out and put you on the stuff you wanted to start with. You're not going to do it. You're probably not going to want to drop that kind of money in one of these boats, especially when that's a quarter of what you paid for it to begin with, or whatever. I'm not doing the math correctly, but anyway. So I hope you find this video useful. I've tried to tell you what I like about it, what I dislike about it. If you think about it, of all the things that I said are dislikes, really the fabric in the seat is the only one that I really consider major. The other ones are just nitpicky little things that you can take care of. I got used to the drain plug, getting that in there. I'm a lot better at that now. So none of those are big showstoppers by any means. But I've enjoyed the boat. Really have enjoyed this boat. I can pull up and get offshore if I need to go get off onto the land, restroom break or something, go eat a sandwich on shore, or just take a break from being out on a lake that's beating me to death on a windy day. I can pull this up on a sandbar, and I'm not worried about the fiberglass getting scratched all to pieces or getting chunks taken out of it. If I ever go up and accidentally crash this thing into a rock or something like that and really tear a hole in it, I'm going to take it to a fabrication shop and just get them to weld me on a patch, and then I'll get some paint and fix it, and hopefully we'll be good to go, and it won't cost nearly what it would cost me to have the fiberglass repaired. Let's hope I never have to find out. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed this review of my boat. I'm enjoying the boat. I love it. I would buy the boat again, but I would buy a whole lot of different things differently for it if I went out and purchased it again. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like product reviews, let me know, and if I've got a product, I'll review it for you. Like I said, I'm going to probably do one on Vessel View and how to get that installed. If you want to know something about that Humminbird Helix 7, it's a nice unit. It's the Humminbird Helix 7 third generation Mega SI Mega DI chirp. So it's the most expensive one that you can get, and it is networkable. So yeah, feel free to ask me questions about that. If you want to see some review on that unit, let me know. So good luck out on the water. God bless. I hope you catch a lot of fish, tight lines as people say, and have a great day.